He shaped the sound of a generation, yet never sought to be its poster boy. While others took the spotlight, Benny Andersson crafted the soul of the music behind the glass. From silent studios to world stages, he witnessed the rise, unraveling, and rebirth of one of pop's most iconic bands. Now, decades later, Benny shares his truth, not of disco balls or sequins, but of exhaustion, regret, fractured love, and the painful silence that followed the applause. His story reveals the human fragility behind the perfection of pop and the emotional cost of building a kingdom of sound. Early years. A musical awakening. Born on December 16th, 1946, in Stockholm's Vasan district, Benny grew up in a working-class household where music was tradition, not career. His father, a civil engineer, and grandfather, a self-taught musician, introduced him to the accordion at age 6. That small instrument unlocked a lifelong fascination with melody and harmony. By 10, he was playing at family gatherings and school concerts. Unlike peers chasing fame, Benny pursued understanding. He absorbed Bach, folk songs, and every sound around him, teaching himself piano by ear. Melody, structure, and emotional nuance became his compass. The Hep Stars, crafting early success. At 18, Benny joined the Hep Stars, a Swedish rock band dubbed the Swedish Beatles. His arrival transformed their sound, maturing it overnight. Songs like Sunny Girl and Wedding, penned by Benny, topped Swedish charts and revealed his skill as a composer and arranger. Studio work and live performances honed his technical expertise. His peers recognized him as the band's musical brain, quietly mastering the commercial and creative sides of the industry. Benny's gift wasn't showmanship. It was precision, depth, and emotion. This period laid the foundation for a career defined by building invisible structures of sound that would endure decades later. Meeting Björn. A perfect partnership. In 1966, Benny met Björn Ulvaeus at a mutual friend's party, both performing that evening. Their shared love for harmony, arrangement, and musical detail sparked a partnership. Over the next years, they wrote together, experimenting with different styles, and even composing for other Swedish artists. Their creative balance was natural. Benny, the emotional composer, Björn, the witty lyricist. Their connection extended beyond music, eventually intertwining with the lives of fellow musicians, Agnetha Fältskog and Anni-Frid Lyngstad. Together they formed a group whose early attempts at Eurovision laid the groundwork for a collaboration that would transform global pop. The birth of ABBA, a sonic revolution. By 1974, after years of experimentation and a failed Eurovision attempt, the quartet won with Waterloo. They adopted a simpler name, ABBA, and Benny emerged as more than a pop musician. He became a sonic architect. Every song was treated as a meticulous composition, layered instruments, precise vocal harmonies, and early synth experimentation. Benny's obsession with perfection in the studio created music that was timeless rather than trendy. While Agnetha and Anni-Frid dazzled audiences and Björn penned clever lyrics, Benny sculpted the emotional subtext, blending joy with melancholy, creating a uniquely Swedish emotional duality in hits like Knowing Me, Knowing You, and Fernando. Building the kingdom of sound. Benny's work was architectural. Each chord, silence, and note mattered. ABBA's hits weren't just catchy. They were emotionally resonant. Joy and sadness intertwined seamlessly, offering listeners a complex, relatable experience beneath glossy production. Benny's patient perfectionist approach ensured that songs weren't just music, but emotional landscapes. The spotlight often shone elsewhere, yet ABBA's enduring legacy was rooted in his hands. He taught that pop could be both universal and deeply personal. In shaping this kingdom of sound, Benny left an imprint that transcended performance, proving that the emotional weight of music could survive fame, time, and even heartbreak. Fame and private struggles. ABBA's fame in the 1970s was unstoppable, yet the private lives of its members began to fracture. The first significant rupture came in 1979 when Björn and Agnetha divorced. The band attempted professionalism, but personal turmoil seeped into the studio. Benny and Annie Fried followed with a breakup in 1981, marking another emotional fracture. While their relationships had fueled creativity, perfectionism and emotional absence strained personal bonds. Benny's intense focus on music sometimes left little room for vulnerability in life. These private struggles cast long shadows, culminating in albums like The Visitors, which reflected the frost forming beneath the surface of ABBA's polished exterior, silence, and speculation. Unlike typical legendary bands, ABBA didn't stage a dramatic farewell. Their last single, Under Attack, 1982, barely registered compared to previous hits. There was no tour, no press event, no closure, just silence. For decades, fans speculated. Was it money, personal drama, or creative conflict? The truth was more subtle. Emotional fragility, unspoken pain, and the weight of perfection defined the end. Benny's silence mirrored the band's music, expressive yet concealed. Their absence left a void, one filled by questions, rumors, and nostalgia. Yet beneath the quiet lay honesty, a recognition that survival and emotional authenticity often require stepping away, even from unprecedented success. Reinvention, ABBA Voyage. In 2022, Benny helped launch ABBA Voyage, a concert unlike any other. Digital avatars recreated the band's 1979 selves, performing live with a 10-piece orchestra. Benny oversaw sound design with obsessive precision, ensuring authenticity, emotion, and technical excellence. The show sold over 1.3 million tickets globally, proving that ABBA's emotional resonance could transcend decades. A $1 billion tour offer was declined. The band preferred redefining performance on their terms. As always, Benny's genius was in the invisible details. The avatars didn't just mimic, they conveyed soul. Music remained the ultimate messenger, speaking truths even when its creator stayed behind the scenes. Benny's emotional revelation. At 78, Benny Andersson has begun unpacking decades of restraint. Music was his escape. Composing expressed what words could not. He admitted, "I gave my best lines to songs, not to the people who needed to hear them from me." That candid reflection reframes his legacy. He wasn't cold, but scared, wary of confronting raw emotions. Heartache, love, and regret permeated his compositions, masked in melody. ABBA's brilliance lay not in perfection, but in its messy humanity. Benny's honesty now offers closure, transforming silence into understanding, revealing that the music was never just entertainment, it was survival, a way to live through the complexity of human relationships. Enduring legacy, music as truth. Benny's work reminds us that the most resonant art often emerges from struggle. ABBA's songs endure because they are authentic, emotionally intricate, and deeply human. Beneath the sparkle of disco and pop, Benny's architecture created landscapes of joy, sorrow, love, and fragility. The music speaks across generations, conveying truths the band members themselves once hesitated to confront. By sharing his story, Benny allows fans to experience the humanity behind the perfection. The music wasn't just an escape, it was a vessel for survival, a testament to resilience, and proof that emotional honesty can create timeless beauty. Conclusion: A quiet man finally heard. Benny Andersson's journey shows that genius often thrives in quiet corners. Behind the world's biggest hits was a man who built, layered, and sustained emotional truth in every note. Fame, heartbreak, and silence shaped his life as profoundly as his music shaped ours. ABBA's songs endure because they are real, messy, and unforgettable. Now, finally, Benny's voice joins the harmony, revealing the man behind the music. His story proves that vulnerability and artistry can coexist, and that true legacy lies not just in the applause, but in the courage to face and share one's own human fragility.